she hopes that they're somewhere praying because she's already done her praying. In my head. Hey everybody, tonight we're going to talk about Kesha's music video that just came out called Praying, and her story of depression and how that's portrayed in the music video. I really like this video because it encompasses a lot of the messages that I try to get across here on my channel, so naturally I'm going to talk about it. There were a number of things about this video that I liked. She has talked about the video in a piece which I'm going to link to, but she talked about how it related to depression and getting out of depression and wishing hope for and having empathy for the people who maybe put you in that depression. And because she says that, it makes me think also of abuse and PTSD. So those are the things that I'm going to be talking about in relation to this video. So the first thing that really stuck out to me was the use of color in this video, and we are first taken into what seems like a nightmare, which is very common for people who've been through PTSD and abuse, is having these recurring nightmares of what happened to them. And she's in a colorful nightmare, which is kind of interesting, which to me says that she vividly remembers something about what happened to her, like it's affecting her. And then it also kind of flashes to this scene in black and white where she's out on the water and she's on her back and she's kind of just exposed, and she feels that things are hopeless, and she expresses that in the thoughts that all of us who've experienced depression have felt before. You know, why am I even here? What is the point of all of this? Nobody cares about me. Everybody who did care about me is gone. Like, why am I even here? What's the purpose of living? So I think she depicts depression very well there in that black and white scene, kind of floating out in the water, feeling alone and feeling helpless and vulnerable. But then she juxtaposes it with these colorful scenes, but even in these colorful scenes she's being chased by these two pig-headed figures, which you would think are the perpetrators of some form of abuse to her. And I'm not going to get into her whole story here, but if you look into the news you might understand what that's supposed to represent. So what I found striking was that these colorful scenes, they brought to light an aspect of depression that I think people don't always realize, which is that you can have a colorful world. You can be out in the real world and be surrounded by beautiful things and still feel rotten inside. And she expresses this through being captured in the nets. She's in these environments that, although they're colorful, there are also lots of brokenness around her. And I thought that was a poignant way to express that even people going through depression, yes, they can walk around among us in the rest of the world, but inside they feel horrible and they feel trapped. This made me feel like it was about PTSD in particular, because the thing that happened to her, whatever it was, these pig-headed monsters, continued to chase her even in this colorful world. And it was an ongoing thing throughout the video, and constantly we're reminded in the black and white that even though we're seeing her being chased outwards, there's also this part inside of her that's floating in the water, just waiting for it all to end. We see religious imagery throughout the entire video, and I'm going to leave it up to you to interpret what that means, but if you listen to the lyrics, she's talking about going to a higher power, going outside of herself to seek help for what's going on. And you know, you can link that to God, you could link that to nature, you could take it even as simple as going to see a therapist or getting support outside of your own brain. However you want to interpret that, that's up to you. But the idea, I think, is important because we can't heal from mental illness on our own, whether that be depression, PTSD, or whatever we're going through. We need the help of somebody else. And in her case, if you listen to the beginning of the video, she's saying she felt like all the people who were around her abandoned her, and it's pretty clear from the imagery that she's seeking God in some form. So that was her way to deal with it, and everybody's way is going to be different. So the important thing I think to notice about the video is that she had to look outside of herself to get help. You'll also notice that she's climbing up this mountain, and it's not like she's ferociously climbing up the mountain. It's taking a long time for her to get up there, and she's kind of struggling on the way, and that is a testament to how hard it is to ask for help from people, because once she gets to the top, she reaches the religious icon, the cross on the top, and that's kind of what she was going towards. So this idea of reaching for outside of yourself, I think it's good that she illustrated that it's not easy for people to do, and sometimes it takes a journey just to get there. And this is a lot of the stuff that goes unspoken about mental illness that people don't talk about. You know, we always think of healing from mental illness as going in to see a therapist or talking to some friends, but there's so much that goes on inside of us before we ever even get the words out of our mouth or get it communicated into the real world, writing or however we do it. There's this wrestling inside of us, these emotions and these thoughts that turn around in our heads. Sometimes we don't even have words for them. Sometimes they're just feelings and we don't know what they are. So I think it's really important that she put that in there and showed the struggle of just getting to the point of wanting to heal in general. The most poignant part of the entire video for me was when she does reach that icon, and at the same time as she reaches it, it's like the demons also grabbed hold of her, the pig-headed figures, whatever we're calling them. I'm just calling them demons. They grab hold of her, but she also reaches outside of herself at that exact moment, and when she does, all of the colors from the world around her that we've been seeing, they transform and they become a part of herself, floating out on that black and white raft in the middle of the ocean. We see the color in her dress now. She's transformed. At the end of the video, she gets up, she's taken on all of these colors, which are her past, which is her abusive PTSD traumatic memories, and she's incorporated them into herself, and she's standing, and there is hope. There's a whale that comes up next to her and a rainbow that emerges, and that is the name of her upcoming album, Rainbow. And I am curious to see where it goes, because it seems like the rainbow is the symbol of hope. It is the transformation that she's gone through in going through this journey of depression and abuse and coming out the other side and being able to forgive the person who hurt her. She's said that this song in particular is about empathy and having empathy and hope for the other person, that they may heal. And she says in the song that she hopes that they're somewhere praying, because she's already done her praying and she has come out the other side transformed with a new life that she's hoping the other person can find as well. I do think it's important to look at this metaphor of the colorful dress and what that means, because it's taking all of these things that happened to her and she's not denying them. She's not throwing them away. She's not avoiding them. She's not pushing them deep down. She's embracing them, embracing the pain that she's gone through, and acknowledging that this is part of her life and it has changed who she is, as trauma does to people. And even with having been changed by it, she is taking it on as part of her identity and moving forward, standing up and walking into the world. And I think that's a really powerful metaphor. And I think that's generally how people do heal from trauma and PTSD, is that they lean into the pain that they've gone through. They find a way to transform it. They find a way to listen to it and let it shape their lives, and then carry it forward with a newfound sense of empathy and a new perspective on life. So those are my thoughts on the video. I think there is a lot that can be taken out of this artistically, and I think it's good to see artistic visions of what mental illness looks like for a modern audience. And we've seen this in songs like Alicia Cara's Scars to Your Beautiful and Logic's 1-800-273-8255, which is a suicide hotline number, which he made into a song. So we are seeing this representation in music a little bit more of mental illness. I think we can always use more of it, and I'm happy to see that Kesha featured this in her video. Anyway, I'd like to know what you thought of the video, so I'll put a link to this video. The song is Praying by Kesha, and let me know what you thought in the comments below. Did you think it reflected your experience with depression or PTSD or abuse or any of these things well? Maybe you see a different interpretation than I do. I'd love to hear that, so share that below. If you're new here, I do mental health videos Monday through Friday, so hit subscribe and hit the bell afterwards if you'd like to get notified every time I do a video. And if you'd like what I do here, go ahead and follow me over to Patreon and you'll see some behind the scenes and extra stuff over there. You can support me. For the people who do already subscribe to me, I'm still working on that video I've been talking about. It's probably going to take a little while, but I'm excited to do it, and I need to start doing more indoor videos because I just can't. So thank you for having patience with me, and I'll see you around.